topic today, and I co-hosting with my boy here. So, we're gonna need y'all help.
And this that Cowboy Soul Sing. If y'all know nothing about this, you gotta listen to this. You done gone so far, but we got a long way to go.
Hey Kaba, we got you playing. Your music on live.
Hey Mo, this topic is about what?
Ending the war between black women and women.
Hey Mo, this
Black
topic.
men and women.
Mo, this topic.
Women
is,
and women. Oh, wait a minute. This is the wrong program.
Mo, this topic is ending the war between men and women. Black men and black women.
Black men and black women. We gotta
Gender
stop.
war.
Ending the war, huh?
Gender war.
That's right.
Ending the gender war
Hey,
between
family.
black men and black women.
Let me
Mo.
know if you guys see us okay, hear
What
us
you
okay.
think? Topic?
About to get
Worth
going.
discussing or no?
That's Brother Kaba. You hear in the background doing his thing.
Talk to
Local
me, Mo.
artist. Well, he international. He
That's
just came
right.
back from London.
That's right.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. But he lives here in DC. Hey
my brother.
Kaba. Sometimes he chimes in, so we want to give you a shout out.
Cowboy Soul Singer. That's my guy. I write all this material for y'all. We be getting them beautiful songs. I be singing the background for him too sometimes, you know, when he don't got his vocals right, but it's cool.
Testing.
But let me know, brothers and sisters, is it running? Is it going good? Because I got it on my computer looking. I don't see it running. Irritated Genie Facebook page. Let me see, is it going? It says we live.
Hey, McKinley, Jahari. No sound? Uh-oh. It's muted and sideways. Okay, I'll let my brother do it this
Yours
time.
is muted and sideways?
Yeah.
All right.
Turn
Oh,
your-
I got it now. Wait a minute.
Turn your camera around.
All right, now. No, not that one. Wait a minute.
Under.
Where's this thing at? That we just saw.
Hit clear.
Nah, this is it. If you can flip it here. You know what? Just flip it like you normally do. Because I can't do it. Oh, this is it. You hit this. And then it should come up with different options. Yours don't look like mine. It should give you a flip option. You know what? Just flip it like you normally do.
Alright, we turning it back around because y'all saying that you can't see us straight. Y'all looking sideways. Let me know still.
All right. My sister in Booyah, Baltimore Live. Can you see us? Can you hear me? Let me know.
Mo, you know that's blocking your face, right?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because I'm having problems here. Now, I see it, but it's not coming up live on mine.
Hey, Hanifa. It's not coming up live.
Can you see us? No.
Hey, Anifa.
Rolla say, hey, Hanifa. Okay. I'm just going to do it my regular way. Hey, Sharita. That's Miss Sharita, our
All right.
book author.
Let me see.
Children's book author.
Oh, she's in the house?
She's in the house.
That's what I'm talking about. We got to
Let
end
me
this
know
thing.
now. Should I flip this back over,
So
family?
people saying they can't see me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and stop this and redo it. No, because sometimes,
Might be too much going on in here.
sometimes the connection wasn't good on that one. So let me just do it again.
I'm trying to get them to let me know if they can see all right. Can y'all see us all right?
Let me do it.
I can't even read the comments.
All right,
Bear with
let's
us.
do it. All right. We're gonna get it right.
We're going to get it right. Believe that. Okay. Let me know somebody that's watching on my Facebook stream. What do you see? Do I need to flip my phone back around? You said, can you hear? Okay. Let me know something, family.
Yeah, we're gonna get it together. Yeah. They don't want to talk about this. This is
Okay. You should hold up Q, just restart the video and choose the sound option.
36.
Is that still the case?
0.
Can y'all hear? Somebody say something to me so I can know.
Yeah, if anybody can hear us, let us know. If you can hear me, Irritated. You know what? I only have mine on now, so is it?
All right, so I don't know. Y'all may be saying something, but I don't see it coming
So
up.
to turn your thing back over because you wasn't able to get it. I noticed that.
Oh shoot! No, not we don't want Rollins on the screen.
No, we don't want rolling, grubbing.
I'm seeing the
This thing's supposed to work. It worked great last week. It was easy.
Damn.
All right, let's go live. Oops, and that's gonna have me backwards again. That's all right. I can still flip it though. Bang. Do my horizontal flip. There it is. See, it's simple. See, I just flipped it.
No sound. Is it still?
Boom.
Let me type.
All right, so
I'm not
brothers
hearing
and sisters, let me know if you can see us and hear us on Facebook. Let me see. Let me go ahead and do it now. Let's see what we got now. We should be having. Is it Facebook don't want us to get this word out? Is that what it is?
Right.
They don't want to. Okay. Yeah, we look good.
Looking good now.
Let me see. I'm gonna find out in 1 second. And you see.
Damn, I had all that type. The phone number and everything.
Me too.
Ready to roll? Close?
Uh.
No.
All right, yeah, it looks like it good. Can y'all see and hear us? Now, what's that? Just give me that.
All right, yeah, it looks
Okay.
like it good. Can
Okay,
y'all
good.
see
That's
and hear
my
us?
Facebook.
Now what's it?
Okay, so we good to go.
Yeah, it looks like it
Let me.
Okay,
Now,
that's my Facebook.
all right, now I just want to
You
take
got the
that
dialing
down.
number?
Yeah, I got the dialing number.
What's the number? Oh, I see it. Is that it? 641?
Yeah. They got the eyes and ears on the brother. That's what I'm talking about. My ancestors woke me up this morning. They say, son, you do know what time it is, don't you? I said, what time is that? They said it's war time. So welcome to the war front. Today is beautiful. We got the war against the war today.
Yes, we do.
Because, first of all, to start off, I have my lovely co-host. I know some of y'all suckers upset and mad because y'all ain't got a co-host like this, but that's because you ain't the Irritated Genie. It's not my fault, it's
You
yours.
didn't just call them suckers.
I call them suckers. You should be, if you was the Irritated Genie, then you could have a co-host like this too, but you're not. So, I mean, it's not my fault. I
Or
still
just
love
being
you, though.
E-Like Media, one of
Just
the
being E-Like Media. If you come to E-Like Media, maybe it can happen, but that's on y'all. Y'all got to do y'all own thing. We're going to do our thing the way we're going to do it. This is Al Kamal. Would you like to introduce people to yourself, my sister?
Greetings, family. As my brother said, I am Al Kumar. I am a staple here around these parts and in Everlasting Life. And, he offered me the opportunity to come and chit-chat with you guys about this gender war we got going on in our community. This battle of the, the genders. So I'm here for that.
Yeah, we going to talk because, people keep saying, Genie, when we going to get some balance? We got to have a balance. We don't want to just... I thought that Genie was pretty balanced, but when you really think about it, I'm probably not that balanced. So I said, you know what? I can take that. We going to get the balance. We got the black woman in the house. You got the brother in the house. I'm going to speak what I know or what I think from the perspective of the black man. Then we got our sister here. She going to speak from the perspective of the black woman. And we going to really talk about the things that we got going on in our community and see if we can't come to some kind of conclusion of where we start fixing some of the issues with us fighting with each other,
Hey, Derek, let me know if you can hear.
This is so
And see,
interesting.
okay. I'm sorry.
It's so interesting. I just got, first of all, let me start off with a couple of things because, wife always tell you, don't forget to do this. So we got to tell you a few things. Let's get a few things out of the way to start our program off. I want to let everybody know where we are. We are at Everlasting Life. If you want to live forever, you want to eat healthy, you want to feel good, you want to get the right stuff. If you don't put the right stuff in, you don't get the right stuff out. Come on down to 9185 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights, Maryland. Right here in Landover, Maryland, Capitol Heights, Maryland. Right off the Beltway 495. You come on in here, get delicious food, and you have a wonderful time here as well. A lot of good, positive people that you'll meet here. Also, we have my sister. You can come in. Oh yeah, we got our sister Malik Fashions. My sister has the best jewelry. You'll love it at the best price point. Look at it. Look at it. They got Vanna White, whatever, brother. We got Al Malik Black. So what about that? Al Kamal Malik Black. That's what I'm talking about. Just looking phenomenal. You can come over, get your queen something, brothers. Sisters, come over and do your shopping right here. Of course, we have the Warner Horizon table here as well for all of our DVDs and information that we put out for our people. So you can come on and get that information. Also, every first Saturday of every month, you come on out to 9185 Central Avenue, Everlasting Life. And it's a huge shopping bazaar. We come on out here. You can purchase. We have all kind of vendors selling all kind of products. And it's an environment that you're going to love. Also, I want to tell you about the eLife Media Studio, where you see us right now. State-of-the-art studio. You can come out if you're interested in having a program. You want to try to pretend like you can do what we doing out here on the radio. Let people hear what you got to say and what you're talking about. You can do that. Tell people when your program comes on. You got a program yourself.
Yes, I do. We the Empower Hour right here on eLifeMedia.net takes place every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. You definitely want to chime in for that. We take all type of topics that I say most people tend to run from. We run towards, and we discuss those topics that go on in our community that we like to sweep up under the rug and don't like to, hush hush and taboo. But we take all those topics and build a discussion around them with you included. We take the studio audience, not the studio audience, the Facebook audience, and draw you into the discussion with your chime-ins, your phone calls, your comments, and we bring you right on into the discussion. So we love to have you 2 to 3 p.m. every Wednesday in Power Hour, eLifeMedia.net.
Do you know what this week's topic is going to be?
This week's topic is on the taboo of homelessness.
Oh.
We tend to, when we hear about homelessness, we tend to think, people's living on the streets, having bathed and, begging and stuff. Well, we don't recognize that most homeless people aren't that way at all. You walk past them every day and don't realize that they're homeless. So we're going to dig into that a little more this Wednesday.
All right, fantastic. So we got a lot of people watching here live on Irritated Genie at Southeast page. What page are you having yours live stream from so they can know they can check you out?
I'm on my own personal page, which is Alquamar Malik. It's spelled Alqamar. Last name Malik, Malik. You can find me there. I'm wide open too.
All right. So there we go. So brothers and sisters, we're gonna get right into this conversation. Well, I got a couple of more announcements to make here.
Hear me.
Let's see. We also have this evening, this same conversation that we're having now, and it'll be on Facebook Live as well. Come on out to 9185 Central Avenue because it's gonna get deeper this evening. We're gonna go real deep into this conversation this evening, talking about these gender wars at the Chopping It Up session, the live one this evening starting at 6 o'clock. Let me let everybody know that wants to call in, give people asking for that information right now. The call-in number. Somebody said there's no volume on the Facebook Live feed. Can you all hear me? Brother Emmanuel, you listening? Can you hear me?
They can't hear me either.
Tell me if you can hear me. Tell me if you can hear me. Everybody that's on Facebook Live now, give me a message and let me know if you can hear me, because I just got somebody.
Somebody said power off and power back on. I don't know why they can't hear.
I can hear you just fine. Okay, we got somebody saying they can hear us just fine, so we should be good. So restart your Facebook. You might be on the old feed and get back on the new feed, and you should be able to hear us fine. Okay, they said they can hear us. Fantastic.
Okay, good.
So the call-in number is 641-715-0873. Again, is that the right one?
Mm-hmm. For yours?
Yeah. Let me make sure. Give me a second. Is that the correct one? Let me make sure. I want to make sure. I might be. No, that's the wrong one. I'm in the wrong doggone thing.
You want to just give them a studio number? Or that's just
No, that's just one line. I'm sorry, brother. I gave you the right information, but I just came into the wrong account so we can take numbers. Give me 1 second. I got to get this stuff right. Got a new line, so now I got to.
We're going to get it together, family.
We're going to get it together. We're going to go right. Just hang on with it. This is one of those days. We're going to keep it going. Because we're going to talk about, what? I want you to start off. This is how we're going to start off. While I'm getting this together, I want you to start. This is what we're going to do. Since we got a sister in the house that can talk about what sisters are disappointed with brothers at.
Okay.
Because I can try to give you my point, but I'm going to say, well, brothers are perfect because I'm a brother. So I'm going to just take outside. So we're going to do it differently. You give us some real feedback. Not no playground stuff. There's no reason to do this if we're going to play games.
That's right.
Tell us where black women are disappointed with black men. That you would say, these are things as black men we could do better. And then once you finish, and that's going to probably take about an hour. Once you finish, then I'm going to jump in, and then I'm going to say some of the things that brothers are saying about disappointment with sisters. And then what we'll do after that, then we'll start reversing it, and you can talk about some of the things that you see that black women aren't doing right, and I'll talk about some of the things I don't see brothers doing right. Then we're gonna go to the phone calls and let everybody call in and give input.
Okay.
So go ahead and shoot.
All right, I will shoot. The first thing that comes to my mind is security. That's the main thing that I believe. And it's funny you asked this question because I do a lot of social media conversing. I use it as a blog, actually, so I'm on there a lot. And I asked that question one time, and overwhelmingly the women said security. They are lacking security from our brothers. And I think sometimes our brothers tend to think, I guess, I don't ever want to think for our brothers, but they may tend to believe that security comes in the form of protection, like, if somebody bothers your woman, you right there to protect her physically and things of that nature. But for me, I believe security goes so much deeper than that. It's emotional security, and knowing it's a very comforting place for a woman to be, knowing that when her man leaves the home, that she doesn't have to worry about him out there picking up other women and trying to, doing things.
Infidelity.
That's gonna affect her esteem or affect her the comfort of the relationship. So I would definitely say that security piece is vital, and we lose sight of that a lot. And it does go into physical as well, because there's a lot of instances these days. Women are disrespected. Black women are the most disrespected women in this society. And where, we could be walking down the street somewhere, and if a man doesn't, doing cat calls or something, for instance, and we don't like that, and we keep going, and he decides he wants to cuss us out because we don't respond to his disrespectful mannerisms, and there could be another brother watching the whole scene and do nothing. So, and I get, and I hear it already, where the brothers, I can hear them in the back of my head saying, well, shoot, people nowadays it's dangerous. Somebody might come with a knife or a gun and all that kind of stuff. But, I think our fears.
That's not manhood. What you're saying is, you want to see the brothers, if a sister's shows that she's uncomfortable, doesn't like how something happened, the brothers, hey man, what? I don't think sister's comfortable, and step in. You want to see men step in.
Yeah, step up to the plate. And if we're playing these roles, if there's roles in gender, then, I'm not as strong as you are physically by nature, the natural order of things. And I'm of mind that I believe that, and that is for good reason, because because the man is a woman's protector. So, but I don't think that role is being provided for.
As a black man, you're saying black women feel like we're not doing an adequate job of protecting our women.
I think so.
Okay.
I tend to think so. Overall.
Okay. Well, then let me jump in here and give one. So, I think that, I don't think we can really dispute that. We look at Sandra Bland, or we just look at the amount of abuse that black women are suffering. I think that's a legitimate concern, brothers, and I think that we should be men enough to look at that. And if our sister's saying that, we need to consider that. Let me jump in here and talk about some of the things I hear from men. And it's so interesting that I'm hearing it. I just, literally today, a brother I'd never seen him before, but he knew who I was. He see me in here sitting down. He said, Irritated Genie? Oh man, brother, blah, 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 blah. I bought a rack of your DVDs a long time ago, blah, we talking. And then I said, well, let me give you a flyer. We're going to be talking about tonight, at Everlasting Life, we're going to be doing the Chop It Up session, talking about the gender wars. Soon as he looked at it, he took one look at it. First thing the brother said, brother, this is real. I'm going through it right now with my woman. He said, I'm paying $1,100 for one son, man. He said, every month she trying to get me locked up on some health, just on the healthcare part or something, trying to get me locked up, brother. And I'm paying $1,100 a month, but she's still trying to get me locked up. And I'm like, man. And then and basically what it boils down to is, as black men, we feel like our women are in competition with us as opposed to trying to help us. We don't feel that the basic thing that we look for from black women is support. And the reality of it is, as opposed to being supportive in a base and a place we can rely on, to a large degree, as black men, I think I'm speaking for a lot of brothers, we feel like our women are in competition with us and fighting with us. Now that's something that I hear. And I think that's something that, I think if there's a lot of brothers out there, if you feel that, and again, we're not talking about every single black woman, but in general, when a black man is stepping out there trying to do some things, where he's looking for the woman to say, okay, I got your back, or great job, or he's working extra hours to bring in extra money, or trying to start his own thing, as opposed to saying, how was your day and how's things going? It's, where you been all this time? Where you doing it? So it's not a situation where he's encouraged to keep going out there and doing it. It's like, man, in order for me to do better, I got to fight in the house, and I got to fight outside the house. And so I think that that's something that, I've heard it from a lot of black men that this is a reality. In fact, I'll be honest, I don't know too many black men who don't have that. I know some that don't, but in terms of when men are talking, we don't say it to our women as much because we don't want more fight. But I think that's something that most brothers out here are struggling with and get a lot. I know a brother that's actually, I'm not being funny when I say this, he was in a men's meeting for brothers who had, their children with a woman who's just fighting them, and they're so depressed that they have to go to meetings to sit down and talk to other brothers about it, because that's how bad it bothers them, because they see their son not being raised the way they want it to be.
Yeah. I'm of mind. That's a good point. And I'm of mind that we have to get to the root of why these things take place. I think we know the situation is dire. We know things aren't working. All we got to do is look around. A lot of times we don't have to look around. We have to look within in our own personal relationships to recognize that things aren't working. It's something we're doing is just not quite right here. Why? Where? How do we get here? How do we get to this point where 8 out of 10 children are birthed out of wedlock? And things of that nature. So what's the root? What's the core of why we're going through these?
Now see, and I'm gonna talk about a lot of this tonight. I'm really gonna get into it. But Al Camargo, she don't be playing no game. We're not gonna sit here and peedle-poddle or teetle-toddle around the thing. She like, nah, let's get to the real core of this, into the root of it, and talk, and really try to resolve the issue. Right. So now I'm gonna give my opinion. Well, I'm gonna say there are two places that I'm gonna let you come in there. But there are two places I see as major centerpieces in what's going on. The overall global situation, in terms of the massive thing, is that in order to keep black people oppressed, one of the things that whites and white supremacy have to do is they have to keep the family destroyed and keep the family apart. Because strong black families defend black interests. That has been our history. We build strong nations, we build strong militaries, we still build strong economic environments, we build strong cultures, and we defend the interests of African people. So in order to destroy that capacity to have strong black families, I believe that part of the targeted, intentional effort to destroy the black world community is to destroy the relationship between a black man and a black woman. I believe that whites have put if we look back to when they would have the social program saying, as a black woman, you have 4 or 5 children, and they won't allow black men to get into the job market, but you can get social services will give you money to feed your children, but you can't have a man in the house. They would send social workers out, and if you had a tie in the house, if you had cologne, smell of a cologne that a man was in the house, they would literally take away the money, and now your family's going to starve. So it put black men in a situation that was terrible. Do I stay and struggle and my family starve, or do I leave and let my woman be able to get food, money to feed our children? This was orchestrated. So I think, and then if we look past that, if we look at the drug era, where, we saw the Iran-Contra hearings, we saw Oliver North, George Bush Sr., former CIA vice president at the time, where they orchestrated the importation of crack cocaine into the black community. Now, yes, black cocaine destroyed a lot of black men, but honestly, the damage crack cocaine did was, it was the one thing in the history of this country, even with slavery and ravaging sexually black women, everything that they put on us, nothing broke the black woman. And every 25 years or so, next generation, a black woman would produce another generation of powerful, strong black men who would go out and fight, because black women would be that support system to say, no, forget about what has happened. You got to move forward and go out there and fight. So women have been able to do that. What crack cocaine did, they manufactured a drug that was cheap enough for black people to afford, to put in our communities and to destroy that backbone of our community. That the man, we have been the muscle in the community. The black man has been the mind in the community. But that stable individual that will keep bringing back generations, that goddess of Set syndrome the black woman has, being able to put it back together. They were able to destroy that with nothing else but that crack cocaine.
And not only that, then on top of that destruction, then they added the prison industrial system.
Now that's where you get the men.
Yeah.
That's right.
Another. So now, if you're smoking the crack that was produced and put into your community, you go into jail.
Right.
So
now the women are being targeted with the crack itself.
Yep.
So they got us killing our women through the drug they put in our community. But then she talks about, they only let you get so far. You're not going to be able to take that money like the Italians did or other groups, turn it legal and build industry. Before you get to that point, turn the corner, you all going to get locked up.
And not only the drug dealer, but the drug addict as well.
Mm-hmm.
So now both of them are in jail for the drugs. And now fast forward to today. Now the whole drug epidemic, heroin epidemic going on right now in the European communities. And what do they get?
They get social centers where they can go. So what we see is organized destruction of black community. So the one I would say, that if I had to say two things, one is the organized white supremacist, white intentional destruction of the black world community and family. That's one. Then the second thing we don't like to talk about. I really believe this is, I believe this is foundational. And honestly, I'm glad you asked. I was going to try to avoid it because it's such a serious topic, but the reality of it is I really don't believe we can have this topic discussion without having this topic. The honest truth is, and this started with me, it started me in 5th grade when I first heard something. But in terms of really understanding what I was hearing and working with it since I was 15 years old, I've had more people that I can count, particularly black women, but at this point now black men too, give me encounters and stories of sexual abuse. And my honest opinion, it's to the point now when I hear a black person, 45 and under, a sister, and she tells me she's never experienced sexual abuse, I'd be like, wow, really? It sounds like, it's like, wow, is she telling me the truth? Because it's so frequent, I don't even hardly ask anymore. And the reason I say that that's such an issue is because if we're talking about trust, security, love, respect, and support, I really have a hard time believing that it's possible or that it's reasonable for us as black men to believe that a race of women that we allow to be sexually abused in their developmental stages by individuals that look like us, it's hard to imagine that we would do that kind of terrorism to our women at young ages. And many times it happens multiple times. Prey on them and destroy their natural sexual development, and then expect that after violating them in such an intimate, personal way, that they're going to develop into these loving black women that are going to be supportive, and when they see a black male go, oh, that's my hero, and I don't believe that that's reasonable or possible.
You're setting them up to enter into a destructive relationship.
Yes, because it's resentment, it's anger, it's bitterness, it's animosity, it's that natural intimacy that comes when a man comes with a woman is not a natural process for her.
Destroyed.
It was destroyed. The natural process was destroyed, and she was introduced to it in a very violent, inhumane, destructive fashion.
Yeah.
And so now that when she gets involved with it, you're dealing with that too. Even if you don't know, it doesn't mean that we did it as individuals.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest. The reason I'm saying this is because I don't think that we can have a discussion about fixing the relationship between black men and women, or even what the problems are, and not discuss, in my opinion, in my estimation, in my research, over 50% of our women, I would say easily 75% of black women in America, by the age of 18, have been sexually abused. So we're talking about something that's more normal than almost any, it's more normal to being left-handed.
Without getting too graphic, I think we should explain a little deeper what sexual abuse is, because some people out there may hear that and don't realize that they themselves could have been sexually abused, especially the brothers, because we have this thing where if a teenage guy or a young boy has had relations with a grown woman, that's seen as macho, or that's seen, you know what I'm saying? When that, when in all actuality, that's sexual abuse. It goes both ways. So I think we should really kind of dig down a little bit about what really is sexual abuse, because some people may think rape is it. Somebody, you know, my great uncle or my cousin or the neighbor or something, you know, came and physically, you know, abused me or physically forced himself upon me. And we think that's it. That's it. That's all. That's the only form of sexual abuse there is, when there's a myriad of different forms of sexual abuse. And my sister Hanifa can chime in on this one. And Hanifa, if you're still watching us, because she's a child psychiatrist, and we talk about this a lot, she and I, she see firsthand the abuse that takes place in our communities, and the cause is the reactions to this abuse, the effect of this abuse. So
when we're talking about sexual abuse, to be clear, we're talking about an older individual. I'm not talking about 2 6-year-olds doing what they saw on television, because they're both experimenting. That's a little different. We're talking about a 15-year-old going and putting their hands on a 6-year-old in a way that's inappropriate sexually. We're talking about a 25-year-old touching and groping the breast of a little girl, or grabbing the genitals of a little boy. We're talking about some sexual, someone using their influence or power over a younger individual to introduce them to sexual things, and to even a lot of times make them think that they want it, because, you know, young people don't know. But
what about porn?
Okay, that's a good one.
With a child.
So even to the degree, like she's saying, even beyond the touching, sitting down and putting on pornography with a child in the room, which is something that's very, very standard these days. Like, our people have no idea of what is inappropriate and what is abusive now, because we've been introduced to so much sexual insanity that to a degree, all of us, and I'm including myself, we've been exposed to things that the exposure, just the fact that we can talk about pornography and what it is, says that we've been exposed to some stuff we're not supposed to be exposed to, because there's nothing traditionally African about pornography. When you put people past their teenage years together in certain environment, you ain't got to tell them what to do. It's a natural instinct. So to be able to create something that shows people to do not just sexuality, but perverted sexual stuff, and to see that before you've already began to develop your sexuality, they'll have those ideas implanted in you. It's a molestation of a type, because it's going on to people who, that is not our natural way. 2 guys together, 2 females together, 7 people all at the same time doing.
And you're watching what the intimate things that should go on in the privacy of your own home. You watching it on TV for people, all the world can see you do these intimate acts. And it's perversion. It's perversion, and the things that we take from watching it then become part of our idea of what sex is supposed to be. So we've been molested in a way. So when you have adults or older children showing younger children this sexual stuff, knowing that people are creatures of socialization. We do what we know and what we see, what we're exposed to. So we know that by exposing younger people to this, that they're going to see it and want to try it. And many of us, many of the sick people in our community use it to violate children. So yes, I think that pornography in general has been bad for black people in general. But truthfully, to show pornography to children, I do believe is sexually abusive. Yeah, I do too. Now, how does this tie into the relationship scenario, or the destruction of the relationships?
And I'm going to go to something. I'm glad she asked that question, because it's getting us back on point. For me, and let me give out the phone number just for anybody that's listening now. So if you want to call in, the phone number is 641-715-3640. Again, that's 641-715-3640. Participation code 948-656#. That's 948-656#. You can look right on the where you're watching Facebook Live, and we have the number right there, so you can call in, chime in, and we'll let you get a chance to come in and talk to us. But this is what I think happened. Okay, so if we look at the 1980s, I think a historical perspective goes into it, really helps. It was in the mid-80s when they brought the crack in. This is also a time when pornography started to really flood our community.
Who brought the crack in?
the white government of the United States of America. We're talking about George Bush Sr., Oliver North, and this was the Reagan administration.
Documented.
They had hearings. Go up and
All documented.
Go up and put Iran-Contra hearings, and you can watch them in the hearings talk about how they funded an illegal war with the Contras,
Right.
and took the money and funded it by bringing cocaine, and now they created crack and brought it into black communities and destroyed our communities.
So we're not even debating that happened. It happened. If you don't believe us, do your research.
Go online.
The crack cocaine was deliberately pushed into our communities to cause division, chaotic distractions, and all that kind of stuff. But go ahead.
And I'm glad you said that. And I'm going to say that we're going to do another program on this. And I would say this, and this is my opinion. We're not going to talk about it now, but it's just something for another program. I'm of the opinion that let's not even talk about slavery. I believe if we just look from 1985 to now, that the United States government owes us reparations.
Yeah.
And somebody just put in Dark Alliance, right, with Gary Webb that talks all about it. They owe us reparations for what they intentionally did as a government, a nation of a government, with bringing crack cocaine and destroying the black community. We need to calculate the damage that was done. They owe us because that is something we can tangibly look at and see. But now, that came in and that happened. Then on top of it, something I think was extremely detrimental, and I know because I was there and I lived through it. I know the damage that it did. When NWA came out, funded by Jerry Heller and Seagrams and all of those Interscope records, and started making music glorifying the sexual abuse and brutality of black women, and taking the relationship between black men and black women and taking the power away from the women and giving it to the men. What I'm saying by that is, back then when we were growing up, the women, like particularly in DC, man, they was head to toe fine as they could be, always looking their best. And so you had in this area, you had to have some game. You probably had to have a little money, but you had to know how to talk to a sister. You had to know what to say. You had to learn.
And you had to be sharp.
You had to be sharp. Bro, Roland know what I'm talking about. You had to have it because they was just, everybody wanted the sisters, and they was tough.
Sorry.
No, jump in, brother. No, I said, look, you gotta keep it real. I like the amen corner. Look, listen, that's real talk.
So Mike Ford, right?
Yeah.
Mike Ford.
I won't talk a lot. I just don't want to be disrespectful.
All right, we put on Mike Ford so y'all can hear my brother.
We got another powerful figure in the studio
Yeah,
with
that
us.
brother, humble in the background, but
Yeah.
ain't nothing humble about the work he's done. This is a serious brother.
Yeah.
But we had the women had the power. Men had to, young brothers had to concede to being somebody in order to get the attention from a sister. NWA changed that. I remember when it happened because I was there. I was 15. I remember the transition even in my own mind. They created a situation where you can call black women bees and hoes. And now these same women who before you had to come with some respect with, now you get a false sense of power because now we're destroying the self-esteem of black women. Now you can molest them and you can rape them and you can break them and you can make them feel like they ain't nothing and you can talk to them any kind of way, any kind of negative way, and that will be tolerated because the manhood had been flipped. Manhood wasn't in protecting black women. When I was growing up, if you called a black woman a bee in the school, you was getting in a fight because her brothers, nephews, cousins, everything. NWA changed it to where now, as a man, you were the powerful one, and breaking the spirit of black woman became habitual and a cultural practice that we still practice to this day.
Yeah, and not only does the brothers disrespect us, but we as sisters have internalized that disrespect, and we do it to ourselves now. We'll call ourselves the bees, dogs, walk on fours.
You know, and part of the magic in how they did that is they also infused it with music and lyrics that were supposed to be empowering. So they talked about issues with the police. They talked about the crack in the neighborhood.
Good point.
So in essence,
That's the technology.
Right, that's the technology. So if I'm going to feed you, if I want to feed you some rat poison, I just do like they did in the movie Bumpy Johnson.
Putting your ice cream.
I put in the ice cream.
Come
right?
on.
You see what I'm saying? If I
Did
put,
y'all hear him?
Right. And in the early show with Kim, we were talking about that, and we were talking about Bill Cosby and some other folks, and I said, look, the fact of the matter is, lust of the flesh and envy of one another is always the downfall of mankind. So the first thing that happens is, in order for me to hook you now, I just have to give you some positive, and then slip the negative with the same beats in it, and you don't subliminally.
The power of the media.
Subliminally, you don't
The
even.
power of media.
And I'm gonna keep it real. This is how it really is. I'm not making this up. I became in love with NWA at a time, and then I fell out of hate with them once I came to my African mind. But let me be real. When I first heard them, Now remember, I'm from D.C. Southeast, and I'm up in Massachusetts. But when I first heard NWA, and I heard that they called themselves Ends with Attitudes, even though we used the N-word, it was always negative. It was like, you want to fight somebody, you call them that. We never internalized that word. So when I first heard there was a group with that, I can't even tell you how angry I was, because it was the most ridiculous concept I ever heard. Where did they hook me? F the police. Because as a young black brother, I had so many bad experiences, and I wasn't a criminal with police. I hated police, and when they said I remember the line that hooked me. He said, when I finish, it's gonna be a bloodbath of cops dying in L.A. Yo, Dre, I got something to say. I was done. Because I said, some black men gonna stand up against these police that be harassing us, and they gang. So, of course, I haven't been out to L.A., but, you see Bloods and Crips. You had this idea that they were actually organized to do something for black people, which wasn't true.
Right.
But I'm listening to the music. It sounds true to me. And now they got me. And so now I can hear them call black women bees and hoes. I can hear them talking about a bee is a bee. I can listen to this stuff that's filth. And now I can walk out there, and I'm be honest, it happened to me. I just want to share this for a moment because it's real. I like to admit it because it's real. I went from wanting a girlfriend and having tremendous respect for black women, probably more than I should have, because I grew up in an all-woman household, just me and my mother. So I was a little too far, but I probably was classified as a feminist.
Put a thumbtack on that, because that's also part of the issue that's going on.
Yeah, I think that I looked at black women probably as being these saints that wasn't realistic, but I'm just being real.
You revered them.
I revered them, and I wanted the girlfriend. I had this kind of glossy-eyed TV kind of version of it. That went from that to she ain't nothing but breast and legs, to the point where, I'm ashamed to say it, but names went out the door and everything. It was just, it's her legs and behind walking past me, and that's all. I don't know the person anymore.
Yeah. Hanifa brought up a good point. She said, how did we allow that to happen?
How we allow what to happen?
What the NWAs,
you know what happened? And I'm glad, Hanifa, that's a brilliant question.
She on it, ain't she?
She on it.
She stay on.
This is what we did not do. And that's why I'm so hard on this now, because I'm like, I can't be a hypocrite and talk about what we didn't do then and I don't do it now. When the issues come up and it's something that's fresh and new, it can be exciting. And it's very difficult to go against the wave of black male consensus, particularly for black men. Mm-hmm. The responsible individuals in our community at that time, the ones that had the power, did not lay down the hammer and say, this is not acceptable, we won't go with it. In other words,
there were a few who tried.
Yeah, C. Dolores Tucker.
Is that the sister that stayed on Tupac?
Yep. About
his cursing and calling, stayed on his case.
And
we used to get on her about, leave him alone. But she was out there, one woman force, trying to stop that wave of disrespect. Okay.
And who you talking about? No, I'm glad you brought that up. C. Dolores Tucker actually met with Suge Knight. And she said, and this is what C. Dolores Tucker said, because of course they were angry with her at first, and she said, I met with these young brothers. She said she talked to Suge Knight. She said when she started explaining her issues with him, he said, sister, we had a song. And it said, after we get all the black bees, we're going to get all the white bees, then we're going to go get all the Jewish bees. And Suge Knight said, the record executives told us, you got to take that out. You can't have Jewish bees in there. You got to take that out. And basically,
because they run the show. We can be disrespected all day and night. They push that, but don't you dare disrespect them.
And if you remember when Ice Cube made the song, said you let a Jew break up my crew, they made him go back and edit that out.
Yeah.
And I think somebody said something about Hebrews. I flip chips like a Hebrew. They made them take that out.
Even Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson said, Jew me, screw me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me. He had to reprint the whole album to take that out. And as soon as he did that, all of a sudden they had him up on charges of pedophilia. I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm saying they sure waited till he did something like that to make it happen.
And these are the same people that control the hip-hop industry and rap industry right now, where all our sisters are being disrespected every single day on almost every song.
And to the point that my sister Hanifa asked, here's how we know there's something we can do. The Jewish executives did something. When they saw the word Jew being associated with a B and a female being in a negative light, because they're Jewish and they don't want their women to be treated that way or seen that way, they jumped in and intervened and said, we don't care how much money it is, we're not giving you nothing, and you won't get this, you won't play that song, won't be heard nowhere until you take it out. If those males could do it, then there's no excuse for us as black men to say, well, this, that, and the other. There's no excuse.
That's right.
I mean, well, part of what happens is, and Anita, and you all know this, is that black males aren't hitting up their households. So as we step up and we take an executive functioning position like that, and we say this is not going to happen, who we saying that to? We're not in the house. So then it goes back to what you said
Starts
earlier.
with self.
You know, yeah, the men have to stand up just like the Jewish men stand up. But the Jewish men stood up and they had an army behind them because they had their wife and their children. And this was Jewish household after Jewish household after Jewish household.
And not only that, they had the understanding of why they even needed to stand up.
You know what?
We don't even have that understanding.
I don't disagree with you on that. But let me say something. When my father said something, I ain't freaking understand half of what he said. You know what I
did it because he.
You know what I did? I did what the hell he told me
You
to do.
complied.
Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is understanding can come later. The hell with understanding. When the coach told me to run full speed into Genie and hit him as hard as I could until I broke his backbone, I didn't understand that. He said take my nose and put it right in the middle of his numbers. I did not understand that. I said my neck, my head. He said, and then all of a sudden when I started doing that, I started taking out Bill Romanowski. I started taking out this person and that person, the linebackers that were hunting down my tailback. I started taking them out, and then we had some forward progress. Then I was able to go back to him and say, yeah, now I understand why I have to hit this dude right down the middle of his spine.
Let me jump in here because I think it's very important right here. I think it's very important what he just said. And I want to go to this because it goes back to Sister Hanifa's question. When the question is, why didn't anything happen, it's because we're not men. I'm going to just be real. Let me just say, because I'm going to say why I say that. All right. I saw last year something that really, really moved me. And I'm going to tell you how deep this is. We don't even talk about this. And I want people to hear this is really relevant. It might seem like it's not, but it's really, really relevant to the conversation. Manhood is no excuses. You get it done. Like he just said. He said, go down here and do it, you get it done. As men, it is our responsibility to protect our women and children. I saw this last year, and it really told me something. And it's really terrible that we don't even remember this. Now, if you think back, this same time last year, really starting from August to about December, whenever it was, really the whole summer last year, black people were getting killed on almost every other day. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it actually is still happening, but we just the media.
Right.
The media not picking it up.
But it was happening where it was coming, and we were seeing the murder. I mean, just unabridged murder of black people. You remember that? All right. Do you remember what stopped it or slowed it down?
What brought attention to it was...
No, never brought no attention to it. No, it slowed down, yes. We were seeing it day after day after day. We were seeing it like it was like...
Oh, you mean the riot?
No, it wasn't no riot.
Black Lives Matter?
Nope.
So answer it, brother.
Because I want people to see this, because I want people to really see this. Now, I'm not advocating anything. I'm just keeping it real.
Or the uprising, excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, when we started shooting back.
All right, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. In Dallas, on that Saturday, a brother named Micah Xavier Johnson
shot him back.
And I'm going to tell you how deep this is. This young brother was in his 20s. He was a former military vet. Come out, he had been trained of how to deal with terrorism when he was in the war, fighting overseas. Came back home and saw terrorism happening in the black community. Didn't have a chance to get married. Had no children. But said, I've been trained to defend the community. Now my community is under siege, and obviously the police are not going to do nothing. I have to identify, isolate, and exterminate the terrorists to do something for my people. He did that on a Saturday. Shot, I think, 8, killed 5. We don't know if they were police officers or terrorists, but in Dallas. The very next weekend, Brother Cosmo Setepinra went to Baton Rouge where they had murdered Brother Alden Sterling. And he took out 3. I don't know if they were police officers or if they were terrorists. These men were military men. Both of them were ex-military. So they had a process that I have not learned how to identify terrorists. I don't know who they were. What I do know is this. After that weekend, I didn't see no more shootings of unarmed black people randomly spread across the media like that.
So you saying not until we had the brothers actually stood up.
Men.
And
See,
defended.
Them two was men. They weren't even defending. They went out there and said, look, if my community is under siege, whoever's doing it is going to pay a price.
Well,
that's the whole bully concept. Excuse me, Ron. Let me get this out real quick. That's the whole bully concept. If you keep picking on somebody over and over and over and over and over again, and you don't never defend yourself, they're going to pick on you over and over and over again. But as soon as you pick up something and bust them upside their head, they're going to think 3, 4, 5 times before they come at you again.
And the reason I bring this up, it might not seem like it is relevant, but it really is. I don't care. Them men didn't say we don't have an army. Them men didn't say I don't have it. Them men said they didn't say nothing. They said my people can't keep getting killed like that. They show real manhood, which is why I bring their names up over and over again, because again, neither one of them had children. They knew they were going to die. But they said, I'd rather die as a young man and save my people from whatever. I mean, this thing was happening every day. If y'all remember, if we started naming the names of all the black people getting murdered and we was watching it, and these were just innocent people. I'm saying that to say, to Sister Hanifa's question, I'm not talking about guns, but I'm saying there's no excuse for black men to this very day having music that calls black women bees and hoes. And then expecting our women. Now, I want you to understand, if a young girl is 30 years old right now, when was the NW? 88, 98, 2008. We almost 30 years in. If she's 30 years old, by the time she was 6, 7, or 8, and she was listening to music, the only thing she's ever heard herself be called is a bee or a whore or a chicken head. Some kind of sexual object that deserves no respect if she's black in this country. And she hears it every day, all day, for the last 30 years. So, and then she's been sexually abused by a black male, and now she sees her men wearing dresses and skirts and rompers, and she sees anything but black manhood. And yet, black men, I gotta be hard on us today. Then we say, why is it, and I'm gonna be honest, now I've said it, why are our women impossible to deal with? They're impossible to deal with because they don't have men. And they haven't grown up in an environment where there are men that protect them. And so it's so easy for the Europeans to throw out ideas for them, and then for our women to get really to take on the personality of the European. I'll be honest, right now, in my opinion, the black woman has adopted, now I want you to jump in here, but I believe that the black woman has adopted the personality of the narcissistic white male. She can never be wrong about nothing. You can't tell her she's wrong about nothing. And anything that a black man do to try to move forward, she's going to try to pull him down. When he tries to stand up, she's almost like a narcissistic white male who can be the only one that has any power and any authority in the room. But what I say is, it's our fault that we let that happen. Not because we did it intentionally, but as men, it's our responsibility to protect our community and our women and children. If we didn't protect them from that, even if they are acting in an adversarial manner to us, it's our fault because we let it happen. Which means we got to take responsibility and do something. Now tell me if I'm right or wrong in that.
Yeah, you have some extremely valid points. Yeah, I would agree. I tend to say all the time, there's power in being submissive. But these days... Whoa. There is.
I think everybody done hung up and all the sisters done hung up. Wait. Now you look, I did not pay her, I did not pay her no money. Now you got to break that down for us. We got to hit it.
You know why I say that? Because I'm a student for life. And I watch and I pay attention. I sit at people's feet and I learn from those who do it successfully. And so I watch the relationships that are always on the brink of failure or fail. And I watch and I learn from those who are in strong, committed relationships that are strong. And what I recognize, the difference in the patterns of the two is that the roles that we have are natural born roles we've just stepped out of. And when we step out of those roles, destruction soon follows. So I'll say it again. There is power, women, in being submissive.
Explain what submissive means.
We hear that term and we think, oh, coward, you just let a man run all over you and you do whatever he tell you to do and you just sit there, yes sir. No, for me that's not submissive. That is allowing a man to lead his household. However, that goes back to it has to be a man. You know, it has to be a man who's leading that household.
So not a male.
Not a male.
So tell me what it means when a man is. Tell me what that's supposed to look like. What is a man supposed to be doing?
Okay.
To say he's the man, he leads his household.
Good question. A strong provider, and not just financially. You know, that comes.
Does he have to be working? Let's be real fundamental. Does he have to have a job?
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form. He has to be out there physically, you know, getting it done.
So he can't be sitting in the house on the couch smoking some weed,
Come on.
waiting for her to go. I'm
You
just
have to
asking.
answer that question, really.
You gotta answer that, because some brothers like, I'm a man. I smoke. Look, you should see the way I roll a blunt. That's how some brothers feel. I gotta ask the question: tell me what manhood? What does the man gotta be doing to be able to say this is a man? He's working.
He has to be leading his household with in the financial aspect, in the emotional support
Okay.
aspect, in being the disciplinarian.
Let me just answer this real quick. Somebody's asking. Again, it's 641-715-3640. Access code is 948-656 #. That's 948-656 #. Go ahead, my sister.
Yeah. As well as, the things that traditionally, when we had strong, committed relationships, what a man did in a relationship. So until we get back to that and stop believing that, I'm independent, this whole, we have songs about it, for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? If you just look at it in a general aspect of, let's just take everything off the plate but finance, and we're looking at an independent woman. When you can only do half of what you can do with a strong man in the household with you to combine those incomes, and now y'all have twice as much power,
So let me ask you
financial power out there to do what you need to do.
But let me ask you this: what if the woman is making more money than the man?
Which is the case in a lot of instances these days.
Yeah, talk to me.
That's a good question. I think in a lot of our the way we think, we equate that. We equate this money with power, and because that's all we see around us. So we copycat off of the norm in society.
But you were saying the man has to lead his household in finance. So if his woman is making more than him, is he not leading, or does that's
No, that's not the case at all.
Okay.
No. I mean, you can be making more money than your man, and he can still be leading the household.
Okay.
So
okay.
that, again, this whole if you, I'm just using the financial aspect as
one of the
an
responsibilities
example of being able to have more impact on everything that you do. When you can combine two incomes, wherever that may be, whether it's a woman making more or a man making less, or vice versa. It's more than what you had on your own, is what I'm saying.
Okay. So now let me ask you another question, because I know it's a lot of brothers out there, and this is what I find, and let me put a caveat on this, because I think it's part of the problem that we have. We who are quote unquote conscious or understand what's going on come into that reality and forget that we're a tiny minority of a minority. But this is a problem that tiny minority of that minority have, and it goes directly to what you were saying. So once a brother who says, I'm doing the right thing now, after all my years of being crazy and all this other kind of stuff, now I'm doing the right thing, and I'm trying to find a sister, and now that I'm doing the right thing, anything I try to do is the right thing, she's trying to fight me. Anything that I try to do to provide leadership, and she wants to be the head of the household and wants me to follow her. What do you say to that?
I think that we grow in different in different cycles, and so a man and a woman realistically aren't normally on the same page with different things, but that's why leadership in the household is so important. Because if you have a strong man that knows, has a vision for his family and knows what he wants and wants the best for his family, and he's leading the way, then it's an easier balance. Because so I'm saying all that to say that you may be in a place spiritually, mentally, that she isn't right now. And so here's the conflict.
Well, let me do this. I want to challenge that. I'm saying this, and again, remember, I'm being honest. I would go on the record and say we are not men right now. We can say we're black males trying to be men, and in order to do that, we can't do that until we say, okay, nobody molests our children. That's just a personal opinion. We can't say that because men wouldn't allow that to happen and know that it's happening, and we know what's happening now, so that's a responsibility. But realistically now, I got to come on this side now. I done beat up on the brothers enough. Realistically, I'm keeping it real. Realistically, this is not a situation where I hear it sometimes. I'm going to say at this point in time, it's practically universal it's almost universal that black women, no matter who they are, no matter how conscious they are, Pan-African, all this kind of stuff, and of course we know there are exceptions to the rule, but as a general rule, are combative and fight against strong black male authority. Not even when men are trying to tell them to do something, even to the point of when black men are trying to go out here and do things, and I've heard this from a lot of brothers, a lot, even from women who admit it, that women are now trying to be the men and compete with men. Mm-hmm. So if the brother is doing all the right things, mm-hmm. as opposed to having a woman there with him, helping him do them more, she is jealous, mm-hmm. envious, and trying to put roadblocks in the way so that he can't focus on doing the things, many times because she's jealous of the attention that he's getting, or other times because she's jealous that he's not spending more attention on her, or just because her training and her personality is, I'm the woman, and if a man is strong and is a good leader and everything like that, as a black woman, again, adopting that white male narcissistic personality, my job is to take him down a notch. And every brother I talk to experienced that. Talk to me.
Well, I think that can go both ways, and I think we got to be careful with generalizing too. You know.
Well, I was generalizing on the black men not being men because you do it. I want you to talk.
Well, I do believe that it can go both ways.
Okay.
In a relationship, and again, I'm always going back to the root causes of why we do the things we do, and I think that we cannot get out of this downward spiral black hole that we found ourselves in until we understand why it is that we're doing the things that we do. Okay. And so, until we get back to, until we figure out why we do it, we can't even expect to change our behaviors because we don't see nothing wrong with them. So I think that it is important to get with those people or learn from those individuals who are doing it successfully, who are doing it, those babas and mamas that's been married for 30, 40, 50, 60 years and are still together and strong and building foundations and got, children behind them and that you can look at and physically see that they're doing it right because look at the offspring and look how well they're interacting and their relationships are. So until we get to that, we're going to be running around in circles trying to figure out, going back and forth, bouncing back and forth, or, the finger pointing scenario.
Okay, let me do this because I do want to address this because this is what I kind of.
And there are success stories out here, and I don't know why we do that. We get into this notion of, I can do. I don't need no help. I don't need no assistance. I'm doing this right. This the way I'm gonna do it in my household. In the meantime, your whole household is in shambles.
That's true.
Versus learning from somebody who's doing it right and doing it well and taking the advice and wise counsel and, allowing them to lead you in the right direction.
And I'm reading some of the comments here. I see some people, first of all, I like the brother Matthews who said that his wife criticizes him always in an effort to make him better and that, to try to improve. So that's beautiful. We got people saying those kind of things. Also, I saw some people talking about brothers in their 40s and 50s walking around with their pants hanging off their behind, which again goes back to what I was saying before. That's not manhood. But I do want to go back to this thing because this is one thing I've noticed just in general. And I've been doing the feminization of the black male since probably 97. That's when I did the first full lecture on it. Beating up on black men. It's the funniest thing in the world. And when I give it to black men will tell you, they leave out the room. I don't want to deal with Genie right now because I don't pull no punches. Again, I've just sat here and said, at this stage, until we protect our women and children from the things we know is destroying them, we're not men. And I'm including myself in that. We have a collective responsibility to protect our people, which is a basic fundamental responsibility of manhood. And we're not doing it. But I got to go back to this because I very seldom hear sisters really speak to this. I can't even almost mention it. And it's something that brothers talk about. When you start talking about the disagreeable personality in the modern black woman, it becomes extremely contentious and difficult to have that conversation because I don't know what it is. Actually, I will say, I think it becomes difficult because I really feel like the black woman, even though there's a lot of justification, particularly in the fact that we haven't been men. So I'm taking full responsibility for that aspect of it. But I feel like that narcissistic European male personality, that I am right about everything, I will not be challenged on anything, and and they become hostile when it's brought up anything that they're doing wrong, I feel like it is a pervasive thing. Like look, it's so pervasive it jumped the phone off the table. Y'all sisters y'all got some forces in it that jumped the phone off the table. But I really think it's something that we do need to talk about, because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I talk to brothers, and brothers, for whatever reason, the brothers don't talk to them when I think they're scared. I mean, I have to talk to brothers, they're afraid.
I like to
Go ahead.
chime in on what I believe is a root cause of that.
Okay.
The truth hurts the guilty. That's with all of us. The truth hurts the guilty. So when you're hearing some things about yourself that you don't want to hear, the first thing you do is jump on the defense. You know, you find distractions, you point the finger back out, you jump on the defense, so you ready, those emotions well up. As opposed to tapping into those feelings, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, why am I feeling this way about this information that I've just received? We do not do that. We run from that mirror as far as we can run. And that is detrimental. It's hurting us. It's hurting our relationships because neither one of us are willing to say, you know what, you're right. You know what, let me take a closer look at that. You know what, let me hear you out. You know what, even though what I'm hearing from you not making me feel comfortable, but for a reason, we have these emotions for a reason. And what we do is we hide from them. We suppress them. We block them. We do everything we have to do not to feel that. You know
how real that is.
And it comes out in anger and the finger point.
And finger point.
It ain't me, it's you.
Yeah, you did this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how real what she said is. When I was working at ICE Immigration Customs Enforcement, it was this sister. She was married, and we were just talking about relationships. And again, like a typical black man, always seeing what black women ain't doing right. In my mind, I like to have conversations and listen to the sisters kind of down brothers. So I'm listening to the sisters just down the brothers, but then this sister said something, and when I say it hit, like my sister said, it hit so hard and so the blood, I remember it right now. She was talking, she said, yeah, I couldn't marry no man that couldn't fix no boiler, hot water heater, he can't fix it, this, that, and that. And of course, as soon as she said it, because I'm not no handy dude at all, I'm listening to her say it. She had no idea that I wasn't. So it wasn't like it was pointed at me. She said, I mean, how can a man be a man that can't do this, that, and the other, can't change no brakes, that can't do that? And I'm sitting there, and I'm shaking my head and everything like that, and I'm just totally demoralized. And I remember thinking to myself, don't argue with her, because the stuff that you do right, you always talking about, well, brothers, we ain't doing this, that, and the other, because you doing that stuff, so it doesn't affect you. But now she's talking about some realistic, fair things that a woman should want from a man. You shouldn't have to call a plumber to do small stuff, change the toilet and all that stuff. Stuff that I never learned to really do and I'm not really good at. So I'm listening to that with a different ear, and I'm like, wow, this is how people feel, like what you're saying, when you're saying things that's hitting at home. And I started really thinking about that and say, you know what, don't be on this high horse like you do everything right, because having grown up without their father in the home, I'm missing those pieces too. And I think that what you're saying is a real serious thing. I don't think there's enough introspection. I don't think we're taught the science of introspection.
That's right.
Eating humility and looking at self and saying, how can I improve?
That's right. We're ruled by our emotions. Our emotions rule us, and not the other way around. We don't harness them. We're not in control of them. The minute we feel something that we don't want to feel, it's it. That's it. Conversation over, argument start. As opposed to harnessing in them emotions. Wait a minute, I don't like the way this sounds, and I may not even like the way he's saying it. But he's saying it for a reason.
You know what?
And if it's a man, excuse me, I'm sorry. If it's a man that I'm in love with, or who loves me, or I'm married to, or what have you, well then, naturally so, he's saying things, out of love and concern. He's not my enemy. He doesn't hate me. So, I think we just need to...
Part of what I start doing, and if brothers notice, I always start out saying, look, we haven't done this as men. Part of that was for me healing. Because when I realized that, I always, of course, being a man, you see what the women aren't doing. And how they won't take responsibility, and how they the narcissist, all this type of stuff. But then... Don't ever look inside and never wrong about nothing. But then when I start looking at where I was weak, and I start thinking about it as a man, and I started, you know what, this is totally unfair to our sisters. we expect them to be what we're not. And if we're men, we're supposed to be leaders. I'm just telling people the science of it. I said, wait a minute. We say, why can't, she can't support, she can't follow, she can't do this, she can't do that. We say all of that, but then we're not leaders in what we do. So I said, you know what? Whenever I have any more conversations, I'm going to start being a leader. Instead of pointing to black women, what they haven't done, or point even at what white folks have done to black folk, the first thing I'm going to talk about is what me, as a black man, ain't doing right.
That's right.
We're not protecting our women and children. I say we. I don't say y'all ain't. I don't say y'all. Because I can't put myself as a separate entity from black men.
And the same with women. We should be able to introspect and find, well, my mouth, I know my mouth can be sassy. And I know I could have said that a little differently and got a different result. We got a lot of power as women that we take for granted.
You know who I've seen do the best job, to be honest? And me being African citizen and everything, I want to, I got to go get another one of these. The rubbers coming off this thing. We talking about relationships and the rubbers bouncing off. The rubbers coming off the thing. It won't stay up. But I think Shahrazad Ali. I'm African nationalist, but I'm just keeping it real. The best job of a black woman taking responsibility to talk about what women can do better. Mm-hmm. I just haven't seen anybody, because she's real. She don't give
she's a powerhouse.
Black women any kind of
Take your cover off, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the cover out. This one is hard to do that with. I'm gonna have to do it with the other one. So I'm gonna just have to hold it. So that's all right. I'm used to it. See, I be a man. Why I gotta see? Look, I don't gotta go out there and try to find no solutions. Just be a man. Hold it while it's going. But that's what we're talking about. Responsibility. And see.
Well, let's get the people in on the conversation, can we?
We can. I tell you what. Let me give the phone number again, and then if we can't, the people that don't want to say it online, then we'll read some of the things that we have with some of the comments that are being made. So the phone number is 641-715-3640. Again, that's 641-715-3640, 3640. And the participation code is 948-656-pound. That's 948-656-pound.
Dyke said something that was very interesting. He said, when you're in a long-term relationship, you need to consider this. She chose you just like you chose her. You have a right to criticize each other, and it's coming from a good
All
place.
participants are muted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What do you think about that?
Say that one more time.
He says, when you're in a long-term relationship, you have to consider she chose you just like you chose her. You have a right to criticize each other, and it's coming from a good place.
I agree with that. And I'm just being honest. Now, I'm just being honest. Mm-hmm. I'm going from, just like when I talk to black women, and I be honest about the stuff. The most honest thing I can say in that situation is that the sexual abuse is going on, and we ain't doing nothing about it. Like that's the most central thing. Honestly, with black men, I gotta be honest. But I'm not trying to make friends here today. I'm being honest. What I hear from black men is that they cannot say anything to black women because black women cannot hear anything in terms of criticism. And there's not no single individual. It's a pervasive thing. So I'm hearing that logic, and I agree with it. And for relationships that are working, which we have relationships out there that are working, I'm sure that's able to be maintained. But the question is, what's going on in situations where it's not working, and why is it so pervasive? And how do we begin to address that? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, that's good in theory, but when black men say, I try to say something, it becomes a war, so I don't even say anything because the criticism is not accepted, then the question becomes, well, how do you deal with a situation like that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not an individual. When it's a pervasive thing where I don't hear black women taking responsibility. I'll give you a good example. And we're going to take a break in a little bit, brother. So we're going to take a quick break, play some music, and then we're going to come right back. But I'll give a good example. Now, we talking about taking criticism. I just lost my thing when we see we're going to go to the break. But give me 1 second. It was a real important point that I wanted to make about, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to take a quick break. I want brothers and sisters to call in, though. The phone number is 641-715-3640, 3640. Again, that's 641-715-3640. And the participation code is 948-656-pound. That's 948-656-pound.
I'm going to add that number to this.
All right, and we're going to play this song right here. We're going to play the same song because Brother Kaba said that we've been in this thing for a long